Hi, friends and neighbors, been a while. Tonight we're going to just do a little small batch of Texas chili. I've got a skillet on high heat here, a little bit of olive oil in the pan, let it get hot. Ingredients for this type of Texas chili are very simple. You can either use chili meat, which is just ground beef that's ground coarse, or in my case, the beef shipments I get from the ranch, I buy all my beef. I get some prime, grass fed, excuse me, grass fed, grass finished ground beef. It's about 80/20, and it comes in 1/3 pound chubs, so that's a pound. They do that way so you can make 1/3 pound patties, but I use it for everything. I'm about to get a new shipment, so these are the last three of the last shipment, so we're going to use that up today. So a pound of ground beef. Once your pan's hot, you start putting it in there. Take a wooden spatula or whatever kind of spatula you have, and start breaking it up. We're going to cook all the pink out of it, get it brown. And again, this is a small batch. Usually when I make this, it's for football or, somewhere there's going to be a lot of people here. I'll use sometimes 5 pounds of beef and brown it in a really large, I got a big giant skillet with a handle. And then put it into like a Dutch oven and finish cooking it that way. If you want to be a traditionalist and actually cook it the original Texas chili recipe way, you don't use hamburger meat at all. Use a chuck roast, like you would use for like a pot roast. Cut it up into 1-inch chunks, brown it, put it in a Dutch oven or a slow cooker, and literally cook that stuff with the spices that I'm going to show you for about 6 hours. Once you cook that down that much, the beef literally shreds into small little pieces. So it's not ground beef at all. It's just a cooked down roast. So this will only take a few more minutes to get this all browned up. And once we get it browned up, we're going to need to pour the fat off of it. And then we'll start putting in the other ingredients. This is actually very quick to make and simple. If you use the ground beef, you can go from this stage here to put it in a bowl in less than an hour. And so if you make it the traditional way, it's going to be an all-day deal. But we don't have time for that today. For some reason, I was this morning thinking about having a Frito pie, which I hadn't had forever. So that's what we're actually going to make with this chili once we get it done. I'll show you all that. So again, all this is right now at this stage, we're just browning a pound of, you can use ground chuck. This stuff, as I said, comes directly from a ranch that I buy from, so it's ground chuck, but it's Brangus, Black Angus beef, and it's grass fed and grass finished. So if you can get grass fed, grass finished beef, it's better for you than the normal stuff, the cheap stuff you get in the store. The cows are grazed, but in order to fatten them up before they make them into beef, they'll put them in what's called a feedlot. So they'll stuff 200 cows in a corral and stick their heads through these little chutes and feed them grain for about a couple of weeks and make them fat. Then they ship them off. These cattle were grass fed. In other words, they just ran around the pasture and ate grass their entire lives. And in the last month or so before they sell them off, they usually reserve their most fertile, greenest, thickest grass pasture for the finishing month and fatten them up that way. So they're not getting chemicals like you get in cattle feed or antibiotics or anything like that. It's just real clean beef. So that's about done. That's browned. I'm gonna stop the video for a second, drain it, and then we'll come right back. All right, we're back. That is browned. So we're ready to start seasoning. I actually like to put a little salt, plain salt on the meat before I put the rest of the seasoning in. I got a seasoning blend. So that's what's in here. All that is chili powder, onion powder, garlic powder, a little bit of cumin. So it's about a teaspoon of each of those first three, or tablespoon, I'm sorry, and then about a teaspoon of cumin. Some people, especially the Mexican folks, put a little cinnamon in there. I don't like that, so I don't. But mostly that's what that is. So you're just going to want to sprinkle that over the meat. It'll start to absorb it. Then I have tomato sauce. That's an 8-ounce can of just regular tomato sauce. And that is 14-ounce can of petite diced tomatoes. Now you can use this, like, because this is the way I like it. So I like the tomato taste in there. Or you can just use 2 cans of tomato sauce. You want to stir all this in. If it's too dry, once you get it stirred in, you can always add a little bit of water to it. And by that I mean maybe an 8-ounce can or 6-ounce worth. But you want to get the seasoning and everything all good and stirred together. You know, traditional Texas chili does not have beans in it. It's mostly beef. So you can stop right here and you get traditional. If you like beans, you can add a can of kidney beans, red kidney beans, or even pinto beans to it, if that's your taste. I personally prefer it without the beans, but you know, there's no chili police, so if you put beans in it, they're not going to come raid your house. The other thing I do like to put in it, though, sometimes I put jalapenos. This is fire roasted and peeled green chilies. So I'm going to put about half of that can of those in there. I didn't happen to have any jalapenos today, or I would have used those, but the fire roasted green chilies are really good too. Turn that down a bit. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit more water in it. It's a little bit dry for me. Yeah, that's more like it. So that's going to make a little more gravy or juice. Put a little bit of water. I put about 4 ounces of water in there. And also I forgot in the spice mix, there's also some cayenne pepper. That's a hot red pepper in a powder form. Be careful with that. If you like it really spicy, put a teaspoon maybe I probably have a half a teaspoon in here because I'm putting the chilies. If you like it real spicy, like I said, put a whole teaspoon or more, just kind of up to your taste. What I typically do, especially if I have some other people eating it, and I don't know whether they like really spicy stuff or not, I'll make it without any cayenne pepper in it, maybe not even any chilies, and then I'll put some hot sauce out on the table with it. For those who want to make it a little hotter, you can just squirt some Louisiana hot sauce in it and stir it in. This is really pretty much the finished product. What you want to do now is lower the heat and put a lid on it. And let it simmer anywhere from like 30 minutes to 45 minutes. I usually do about 30 minutes. And then it'll be done. You'll be ready to plate it up, which we'll do here in a little bit. This kind of stuff is one of those dishes. I'm not going to eat all this tonight because it's just me, so I'll just eat one bowl. I'll put the rest of this in the refrigerator. Tomorrow it will taste twice as good as it did today. So I'm going to shut off for a moment, and then when I come back, I'll show you how to assemble what we call in Texas a chili pie, or Frito pie. Okay, we're back. It's been about 35 minutes. Just let it sit and simmer with the lid on. That's what it looks like done. It's nice and shiny. Lots of beef in there. You can see the tomatoes and the green peppers. So now we're going to make what's called here in my neck of the woods a Frito pie. So in the bowl here, what we have is half a bowl of, you can use Fritos corn chips. These are actually H-E-B's store brand. That's our local grocery store. I like them better because they don't put as much salt on them. But you put about half a bowl of that in there and get you a big scoop of the chili, or two, or three. And just cover the Fritos with it, or corn chips. Let me move this down a little bit. Okay, and in this bowl I've cut up some green onions. You can use red onions, white onions, yellow onions, green onions, whatever kind of onions you like. And I've shredded some Colby cheddar and Monterey Jack cheese. So we're going to put some cheese on here. We're going to put some onions. We're going to take our spoon and just kind of mix everything up here. Usually the chili's hot enough usually to melt the cheese, so after you get it mixed up, you might want to put some more cheese on it or some more onions, whatever you like to taste. Let's take a taste here. So there's a spoonful. Oh yeah, that's awesome. So this whole meal, and I'm also going to have, I've got some green leaf lettuce torn up with some raspberry vinaigrette salad dressing. And also, I don't drink a whole lot. In fact, rarely do I drink, but there's a few meals that I like to have beer with. Chili is one, pizza's another. I don't eat a whole lot of pizza. But this is our state beer. So we're going to have a beer, some chili, Frito pie in our salad, and you got a meal. Total cost for this, and I was going to tell you, I forgot before, if you don't like ground beef, this is also very good with ground turkey. It works really well with that. But the total cost, the meat, the spices, the few cans of tomatoes, peppers, onions, and Fritos and everything, total probably $10 for the ingredients. This would feed at least 4 people, or in my case, I'll eat this tonight. I'll probably have some for lunch tomorrow. I might put the remainder of the chili on something else I make later on in the week. It keeps real good for about 4 to 5 days in the refrigerator. So if you have leftovers, you can keep eating them. If you're going to feed a whole bunch of people, and again, I'll put the recipe in the description, but all you would have to do is either double, triple, or quadruple this depending on how many people. So you figure a pound of meat for 4 people. If you were doing 8 people, you'd do 2 pounds and twice as much of everything. 12 people, you do 3 pounds, etc., etc. But that's it. I hope you try this. It's easy to make, not expensive, it's very delicious. Most of the time I make it in the winter because it's hot, but I just had a craving for chili, specifically for apple pie. So thanks again for tuning in to watch this, and I'll have it up. This right now is Saturday evening, so I'll have it up sometime before the night's over. Thank you.